Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Welcome to the Missoula City Council meeting for July 27th, 2026. Before we get started with the agenda, if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Okay. Thank you all very much. And Ms. Trimble will do a roll call. I have called the meeting to order. And before we do that, I will just note for members of the public joining us and for City Council and those joining us online that tonight we do have a joint city-county item 4.2, which is the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement. So we are joined by our Board of County Commissioners, Missoula County Commissioners, this evening. And I'm going to go ahead and open our city council meeting, and then I'll turn it over to them. So it's a little bit different this evening than a normal city council meeting. All right, but before we turn it over to Commissioner and Chair Slotnick, I will ask you, Ms. Trimble, to do roll call for city council, please.
All right, city council roll call, beginning with Anderson.
Present.
Becerra.
Present.
Campbell.
Here.
Krask.
Present.
Jones.
Present.
Jordan.
Present.
McCoy.
Here.
Melson.
Present.
Nugent.
Present.
Ponton.
Present.
Savage.
Present.
Cheryl. And everyone's here. We do have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Slotnick.
Thank you, Mayor. We will call this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners and our public meeting on July 27th. We typically open our meetings with the pledge, but since we have already pledged, we won't do that a second time. We also would like to do a land acknowledgement, so I will read our land acknowledgement. Today we are gathered together in the homelands of the Salish and Kalispel people. We respect their tribal ways and their stories. We are thankful for their ancestors and for the people today. Today we are caring for this land for those yet coming. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We'll carry forward with a couple of items on the City Council agenda before we get to the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement. So we do have minutes, City Council minutes from July 13th, 2026. Do any City Council members have any questions or suggested changes for those minutes? Not seeing any, then those minutes will remain as submitted. Thank you. Next up, we have our committee schedule for this coming Wednesday, July 29th. Ms. Trimble, updates or changes to the committee schedule as posted?
We do have two updates to the committee schedule that was posted on Friday. Those are that we will be swapping the first two committees. So Public Safety, Health, and Operations will begin at 9 a.m. and the Budget and Finance Committee will begin at 10:10. And then there was also just a change in the title of the fire department's item. It does not change the content that was discussed or voted on Wednesday.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. All the materials for the corresponding committee schedule and corresponding materials are located on the City of Missoula City Council webpage. All right, next we'll move to special presentations and proclamations, and we will start with neighborhood council updates. We are lucky to have two neighborhood council updates this evening. The first on the agenda is the University District Leadership Team Report. So whoever's here from the University District, please come on up. I'll go ahead and turn the microphone on. And for yourself and others, just know that the microphone arm is adjustable. So if you would adjust that to your height, make sure that you're speaking clearly and so we can hear you for the record and for the closed caption as well. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Wonderful. My name is Amy Ohoyt. I am the co-chair of the University District Leadership Team. I'm also a small business owner here in town. My husband and I own Bedrock Sandals and operate that. But today I'm here with you with my University District Leadership Team hat. So a couple updates we have for you. We're having a great year, great turnout, which is really good for us. The team continues to see success in our orange See Me reflective crossing flags for pedestrians to use at busy crossings. We've been doing this for about 2 years now along 5th and 6th, and we've purchased 20 more new flags. People do love to run off with those flags, even though they are very bedazzled and very reflective. But we just are committed to replenishing those flags for the program. Everyone at 5th and 6th are really happy to see that and the safety that it brings along with it. The next thing is that we have our annual University District Neighborhood General Meeting that's taking place on September 9th at Bonner Park. The topics will include parking, zoning updates. University of Montana will come and talk about any kind of updates they have going on as well. We have urban forestry, public works and mobility, and the downtown. The dinner and refreshments will be provided, as well as a raffle for neighbors to attend at the end of the meeting. So last year we had a great turnout. We did pizza, which kind of, I think, helped a little bit, but we're hoping to have a big turnout again this year. The team also had leftover funds from the 2026 fiscal year budget, and we decided to donate the money to the Parks and Recreation for the replacement of the bear-resistant trash cans in the neighborhood, specifically in Jacobs Island. We started that last year, and it seemed to be a good way to give any extra budget we have to help the area, specifically the dog park area, with any kind of bear control. That's all we have for updates. If there's any questions.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Oakley? Questions, comments, council members? All right. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for your thorough update. Really appreciate your participation with the Neighborhood Council and the leadership team and your local government. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Next up, we have another Neighborhood Council update, and this is from the Franklin to Fort leadership team. I do believe that this update may be online. Jen, I see your hand raised. We're ready to hear your update when you unmute there.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we sure can. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry for doing this remotely, but I'm in Kalispell for work today. So I'm Jen Worrell, Worrell, Franklin to Fort. And this will be fairly brief. I just wanted to let everybody know that we did take part in the city chat events at Emerald Park on June 23rd. We gave out ice cream, and we're planning on hosting another ice cream social in conjunction with the Front Step Community Land Trust Missoula Outdoor Cinema on August 14th at Franklin School. So everyone is invited to that. And we are still collecting survey responses until September. Their survey is on our website within the Missoula neighborhoods, and neighbors who take it and provide their email address will be entered in to win a $200 Winco gift card. So, and we've got a lot of good information from these surveys in the past. So I do encourage everybody to take it. And that was it.
Well, fantastic. Jen, thank you so much for joining us from Kalispell, and appreciate you working hard to get people's input from the neighborhood. Thank you. And again, thank you always for your participation. Any members of council wish to ask a question of Jen or make a comment before we let her go? All right. Not seeing any then. Jen, thanks again. Safe travels on your way back home.
Thank you.
All right. That does wrap up our neighborhood council updates for this evening. Back to my agenda here. So next up, we do have this joint city-county item, which is the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement. We have staff from both the city and the county, as well as an esteemed prior city council member who is part of the team that has seen this from the beginning to the point where we are today. We're also joined by members of Northwestern Energy, and I'm happy to have you all here. Thank you so much. And this is an opportunity for us to get an update from our staffs around the significance of this milestone and where we are with this program. You'll hear much more detail from the folks about to deliver this, but I'll just start by saying I'm very excited that we are at this point where we are collectively approving the lead community agreement. I will note, and I'm sure this is part of the presentation, in addition to the city of Missoula, the county of Missoula, but the city of Bozeman is the third local government in the state of Montana that has agreed to participate in the creation of this green power program along with Northwestern Energy. And so these three communities have been working together diligently for years to get to the end goal, which is not today. This is a significant milestone to get to the point where we are able to celebrate the fact that we will be bringing on more green energy, whether that be solar or whether that be wind or another green source, to help deliver sustainable energy to our constituents and our community members. So with that, I'll turn it over to our staff members, and starting out the presentation is Ann Geiger.
Mayor Davis, thank you for your introduction. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Good evening, Mayor Davis and City Council members, and a very special hello and welcome to our county commissioners. Thank you so much for being here this evening. My name is Ann Geiger, and I supervise the city's climate and sustainability team. I'm here tonight with Shannon Anderson, the city's new energy specialist, Svein Newman, the Climate Action Program Manager for Missoula County, Brian von Lossberg, former City Council member and Council President, and Charlie Lane, Director of Regulatory Affairs at Northwestern Energy. Collectively, as Mayor Davis mentioned, we're bringing to you an exciting milestone in the development of the Green Power Program, a program that would allow Northwestern Energy customers to voluntarily subscribe to clean energy from a new renewable energy resource in Montana. This milestone is seeking approval for the city and county to respectively sign lead community agreements with Northwestern Energy. Before we get into the presentation, Charlie Lane would like to offer a few comments.
Great. Thank you very much, Ann. Come on up, Charlie.
Here. Sitting in the corner there so I could charge up my laptop. Not trying to hide. Good afternoon, Mayor, County Commissioners, and members of the community that are here tonight. My name is Charlie Lane. I'm the Director of Regulatory Affairs for Northwestern Energy. It's been a few years since I was here in early 24 for the adoption of the term sheet. I do see a few familiar faces and a few not familiar faces, which I think is a testament to how long this program has been ongoing. And all the work that has gone into getting this program to the point where we are at today. So Northwestern Energy appreciates the opportunity to work with the communities and with customers on seeking additional options to meet their sustainability goals. At its core, this green program is about customer options. As you will hear from the presentation this afternoon, this has been a long but thorough process to get to where we are today. A lot of collaboration with a lot of people, a lot of back and forth, a lot of difficult conversations. This program responds directly to customer interest for such a program. It creates a voluntary program that is intended for interested customers to support their sustainability goals through renewable energy resources located here in Montana, while helping communities pursue their environmental priorities. We believe it is a practical, customer-driven approach that reflects the evolving needs of our communities and our customers. Before I conclude, I made some comments at the Bozeman meeting, which did adopt their version of the lead community agreement last week. And I'd like to make a version of those comments here because I think it's something that I truly believe in. Public service often involves work that does happen quietly behind the scenes. It doesn't usually make headlines, and it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, professionalism, and a lot of persistence, and sometimes nagging of outside entities involved. The fact we're here tonight is a testament to the people who embody this public service. I'd like to thank the collaboration and the work with Ann Geiger, Svein Newman, Brian van Lossberg, and those that aren't here today, particularly Vora Glenn. And I know I'm missing a few names in there, particularly the city and county attorneys. Through changes in staff, changes in circumstances, and a few challenges along the way, All those involved remain focused on the goal, and very thoughtful and deliberate during difficult conversations, and continue to do the hard work necessary to move this project forward. I'd like to thank the Commission for your consideration and support as we continue moving forward with this program and seek approval from the Montana Public Service Commission. This is a significant milestone, but the beginning of more regulatory process. Thank you for your consideration. Happy to answer questions as they come up.
Great, Mr. Lane, thank you very much for your comments, and very glad that you joined us this evening. Thank you. Ms. Geiger.
Thank you, Charlie. So very quickly, we wanted to give an overview of tonight's presentation on the slides. So we'll be talking about a big picture look at why we're establishing a Green Power Program, or GPP, the guiding principles behind the GPP and how it would work, the timeline and process involved, where we are today, that is your consideration of the lead community agreement, and a look at future city and county steps in the development of this program. A few words about the big picture. The city and county of Missoula view the GPP as a key strategy toward reaching our joint 100% clean electricity goal. The GPP on its own is not enough to meet our goal, but it's the most significant opportunity available to us. Early calculations showed that participating in the GPP would bring the Missoula community 10% closer to our goal, while most solutions fall in the realm of 1%. The GPP is an important piece of the puzzle, so we're excited to be here tonight with this milestone. Now I'll pass it to Shannon.
Good evening, Shannon Anderson, Energy Specialist with the City of Missoula. And just to start with the definition here on the slide, a Green Power Program is an opportunity for utility customers to subscribe to renewable energy through a special rate or tariff on their electric bill. It is not a tax. It also isn't a new concept, and programs like this exist across the country. This has proven to be a very strong approach to drive the build out of new renewable energy resources, especially among commercial and institutional buyers who are intentionally pursuing clean energy. Importantly, these programs operate in a way where the costs and benefits of the program are firewalled within the tariff itself. So there is not an impact to anyone who chooses not to participate. And now Svein will share the specifics of our program.
Good evening. It's great to be here with you. The Green Power Program is crafted around a set of core principles, which have been constant throughout this process, but I'll talk about each of them very briefly. You can see them all on screen, but I'm going to move fast, but they're on separate slides. This would be a new utility-scale clean energy resource located in Montana, sized at up to 50 megawatts and owned and operated by Northwestern Energy. It would be selected via an RFP process jointly managed by the lead communities and Northwestern. We won't know exactly what type of resource it is or precisely where it would be located until the results of that RFP stage. It would be open to subscriptions from local government and business, so commercial or industrial customers of Northwestern who would sign long-term contracts. And local governments would have the option to open their subscription shares up to their constituents for residential households to be able to subscribe on an annual basis. And for any of those types of customers, the program, as mentioned before, would be opt-in and completely voluntary. The pricing is a little wonky, but it would essentially operate off of what's known as a contract for differences, which is a fairly common tool in the clean energy development world, where essentially Northwestern would pay the upfront resource costs, and then subscribers would pay for the resource, so think like construction, operation, and maintenance over time, amortized and distributed monthly across the life of the resource. So that's the cost side. And then on the other side, subscribers would get credited on their utility bill for the market value of the energy that they subscribed for. So in a way, a subscriber sort of financially functions sort of like a co-developer of the project, again, because they pay their share of the cost of the renewable resource over time, and they receive the market price of that power as a credit on their bill. But what does that actually mean in pricing or for people's bills in practice? We can't fully say today. Early modeling had suggested a potential range from a small bill increase to a small bill decrease. And with the changing status of tariffs, the expiration of clean energy tax credits, that sort of thing. We might not know the ultimate finances until the RFP stage, but again, nobody would be asked to officially subscribe until after the RFP when the costs are known. And if needed for whatever reason, there are several off-ramps between here and there. And again, this pricing structure where subscribers pay for the resource over time and receive the market value of the energy is based off of that foundational principle that the costs and benefits of the program are contained within it, so that nobody outside of the GPP is either subsidizing or getting subsidized by it. And in addition to the big picture principles and structure, there's of course a fair amount of process and terms and conditions contained both within the lead community agreement, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, as well as the other related documents such as the tariff and subscription agreements that detail how the RFP process would work, how insurance works, how greenhouse gas accounting would work. You can see some of the major additional provisions on this slide, and we're happy to go into detail on anything if you would like in Q&A, but for now I will turn it over to Brian.
Svein?
Good evening, Mayor Davis, council members, county commissioners. It's nice to see you and to be let back in the building. I want to go over very quickly a slide that you've seen many times throughout this program. Charlie spoke really well to the history of the program. On here, I really just want to highlight three of these bullets and time periods. All the way at the left, October 2018, the options report was released. This has been fundamental to this program. And I want to note, as I did in committee, the role that Amy Sillenberg from Climate Smart played in that report, as well as Tom Platt, who's no longer with us. But Tom had, I think, the clearest vision of what we might be able to achieve with a market-driven, voluntary choice sort of program. Second, the April 2019 bullet with the 100% clean electricity resolution. You might remember, those of you who were, I think all three of the county commissioners were here at this time, this room filled a joint meeting like this, and businesses, constituents, nonprofit organizations, just a full meeting from the community in clear support of the community's 100% clean electricity resolution. And then to skip ahead to January 2024, as Charlie mentioned, the signing of the program term sheet over 2 years ago, a lot of work and negotiations on the various components of this program since that time. And that brings us up to where we are now, which is summer of 2026, and the opportunity to approve the lead community agreement. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Ann.
Thank you, Brian. So that begs the question, what is the lead community agreement? The lead community agreement, or LCA, is a binding agreement between each lead community and Northwestern Energy. The LCA outlines the roles and responsibilities of each lead community and Northwestern to work together to bring the GPP to the Public Service Commission, or PSC. The LCA also includes specifics about the RFP design and process to build a new renewable energy resource for this program. The LCA also includes two key pieces of information about the process. The communities and Northwestern plan to file the GPP with the PSC on or before September 15th of this year. And the city and county's notices of interest will be included as attachments to our lead community agreements. Those non-binding notices of interest show expected load commitments of 25.9 million and 5.2 million annual kilowatt hours, respectively. Then here's a forward-looking slide that includes the GPP term sheet and program design that Brian talked about, as well as the LCA step. We're currently on track to file the GPP with the PSC by September 15th, although that date is subject to change if all parties agree to move it up or back. Once the program is filed at the PSC, the review window for the PSC is unknown. There aren't any statutory requirements for an approved by date. After PSC approval of the program is the recruitment period, in which the lead communities will recruit eligible customers and have eligible customers submit notices of interest to Northwestern. The lead communities also plan to submit revised notices of interest at that point. Then potentially in late 2027, we'll have the request for proposals process, which we estimate would take about a year. This will be a competitive process for selecting a new renewable energy facility to serve as the resource for the GPP. Then once we have bids back, pick a project and have a good sense of the pricing, likely in 2028, potential customers, including the city and the county, will submit subscription agreements. That's the point at which things are officially locked in. Then after the GPP is fully subscribed, Northwestern will make a compliance filing at the PSC. Please note, Svein had mentioned there are several points across the timeline. There are opportunities for lead communities to bow out if we want to. For example, if the PSC makes changes to the GPP that aren't acceptable to the lead communities or to Northwestern, we can terminate our lead community agreements. Another example is if the lead communities or Northwestern don't approve the RFP design, we have another off-ramp opportunity. So this slide provides a summary of the steps kicked off by approving the lead community agreement, steps that we've talked about before. And then this slide provides a different view of steps coming up with an eye on possible financial decisions to be made by City Council and the County Commission at a future time. The current step commits staff time to file the program at the PSC. If the lead communities later decide to terminate their lead community agreements and the RFP process had gone forward, lead communities would be obligated to pay RFP cost recovery. The next step will be filing the tariff at the PSC. On this step and the next one, we note coming back to our elected officials for financial decisions as needed. The city and county climate teams don't anticipate needing additional funding to file the GPP at the PSC. Then regarding the next step, recruiting subscribers to submit notices of interest. If needed, we would come back to our elected officials to request one-time funding to help cover subscriber recruitment costs. Then after the RFP process and a renewable energy resource has been selected, we would come back to our elected officials to propose purchasing energy through the GPP. That won't be until potentially 2028. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian again.
Thanks again. Just some closing comments. This is typically the point in a presentation where I would offer a NASA space exploration story about embarking on long, challenging programs with uncertain odds of success at the end, but everyone in this community has heard all of my stories, so I'm not going to do that. I simply want to say a couple things. Emphasize again that this brings on a new renewable resource. That's so critical to the program. It's a market-driven program. It's a voluntary program where we opt in, where folks, businesses, residents, organizations opt in. Charlie spoke to more eloquently than I can to the long duration of the program, but I want to recognize that and thank you, Charlie, for your commitment to this over that time. I think the thing I want to say about these long, sort of drawn out programs that go in fits and starts at time is that they can try your patience, they can try the patience of the folks in the community that support this work. But at the end of the day, there's also an aspect to these sorts of programs where I hope that the outcome will be more durable for going through that process. So thank you. And the last thing I want to say is thank you for your commitment, both at the county and the city and the mayor's office, to this program over that long duration. That's a real demonstration of commitment over the long term, and this community appreciates that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Von Lossberg. I think I can speak on all of our behalf to say that it is our honor and pleasure to be with you today to get to this point in this project. So we have heard the full presentation, it sounds like, from staff. So next we'll move it to questions from City Council. What I'll do is ask for questions from Council. We'll have an opportunity and then make sure that I hand it over to the Board of County Commissioners and Chair Slotnick for the opportunity for the commissioners to ask questions as well. So any questions from Council at this time? And of course, I know many of you know this, but there was thorough committee meetings both at the city in our climate conservation and parks, as well as the Board of County Commissioner Administration meeting last week. So much of this material and questions have been asked already, and if you're curious about those, both of those meetings are recorded and online for your viewing pleasure. All right, not seeing any questions from council. Oh, there we go. It took a while to get populated. Councillor Campbell, go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. And yeah, I appreciate the presentation first off and all the Q&A we had during committee last week. Just one question that came to mind between then and now is getting to the point of the actual subscription agreements, assuming everything goes well with the PSC. Initially, the way I understand it is the major stakeholders in this, from at least a local government financial standpoint, is going to be the governing agencies, the city of Missoula, Missoula County, and the city of Bozeman. I mean, we discussed hope that we'd be able to get other businesses and industries and things like that to come on board. But as it stands initially, major stakeholders in this will be government entities. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Campbell. And Councillor McCoy, I saw your hand up, but it's down. I see Councillor Ponton has a question. Did you have a question? Good. Thank you. All right. Councillor Ponton.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Just one quick question as I think about this from a residential consumer perspective. Sorry, I'm not sure who exactly to direct this to, but just looking at the service agreement there for residential consumers, I was kind of the impression after Wednesday that the energy was purchased in like kilowatt hour blocks, but it seems like there's also like a 12-month commitment for subscribers that auto renews for another year. Can you talk to me about that delta? Is there like a minimum block purchase? So could somebody switch to 0 per month to fulfill that 12-month obligation, or how does that work?
Sure, and I'll invite Charlie to correct me if I say anything wrong. And I printed every document but that one. So thank you for being in the weeds. Otherwise, I just flip you through to it. But no, you're good. My recollection, and I'm fairly confident, is that could be revisited on an annual basis, which is to say that you would subscribe in 100 kilowatt hour blocks, as you say. But that wouldn't be something that you would change every month. But that would be revisited potentially once a year, again, with the opportunity for folks to sort of opt out during the recruitment window. I mean, to get a little bit into the weeds on the process, there would be an annual subscription period, I think it's like August and September, and then that list of interested community member subscribers would be reviewed by Northwestern, would be sent to local governments actually for potential review too, and then folks would, and then that would be reviewed at the beginning of November, I believe, but then it would be a January to December participation process, and then any community members who, and default, this is also in the weeds, but since you're here, were to default on their bill, potentially the GPP subscription portion of that bill would be picked up by the communities. That's more kind of the backstop on the program. But yeah, annual. Charlie, anything you'd correct there?
That was Spain Newman for the record. Come on up, Charlie.
Again, Charlie Lane with Northwestern. Just to answer your question real quick, to get to the core of that, is that subscription period, the residential subscriber would be subscribing at a particular kilowatt hour or a block, number of blocks for that entire 12-month period. And then I think it was covered in the slides, but just to make sure it's clear, those subscribers, those residential subscribers, those are people who live within the communities that are otherwise participating in the program. So participating communities can dole out a portion of their subscription to be covered by those residential subscribers, which is one of the reasons that it was important to have some certainty around the financials and the durability of those residential enrollees.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. All right. Thank you, Councillor Ponton. Any additional council questions? All right. Not seeing any, then Commissioner Slotnick, I will turn it over to you and the commissioners for questions.
Awesome. Great. Do you guys have any questions? No questions? All right. I'm gonna do a comment. I just have to.
That sounds great. We will have an opportunity for comment, but it's your meeting right
All
now.
right,
Your
well, I'm
your
just
own
gonna
meeting.
Go for it right
Yeah.
here. while we're not, I just want to note how long a process this has been. This predates me. Dave was here at the inception, and I want to call out Dave for that, and to Brian, who was here at the inception, and also note the power and force of what we have to do every day, the power of inertia. It drags us back to the thing in front of you. The urgent often outweighs the important. And the fact that these folks stuck with this for going on 7, 8 years, when what was in front of them every day would push most people away. This is the essence of commitment and partnership. And we all just owe a huge debt of gratitude for you all for not giving up. And I know we're only partway through that process. There are a bunch of bullets left to go and more reasons why this thing will fail than it will succeed. But if we keep behaving as these folks did, we are stacking the odds towards success. So hats off to commitment, sticking to it, not giving up, and pushing back against inertia. So thank you.
Mr. Slotnick, thank you for your inspirational comments. Excellent. That was beautiful. All right. So that wraps up our question period. And what we'll do is we'll hear both motions on the floor. So we'll start with City Council, and Councilor Sherrill has asked that Vice Chair Krask make the motion for the city. So I'll go ahead and ask you to do that now, Councilor Krask.
All right. I move that council approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement on behalf of the city of Missoula.
All right, excellent. Thank you. And then I will ask Commissioner Slot and Chair Slotnick for you to do the same for the county.
Could I please invite my friend Dave Strohmeyer to do this, since he's been here since the beginning?
Please.
Makes me feel so old.
I was in 8th grade when Dave.
So I would move that we approve and authorize the chair to sign the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement on behalf of Missoula County.
Second. Excellent.
Any public comment?
Now it's time for public comment. Please come on up.
Underneath the other thing, so you can just not call my name. It's Brandy Atanasoff, Ward 5, and this City of Missoula, Missoula County, Bozeman, and Northwestern Energy. We all know who I am in the community, so I'm just going to read my speech. So thank you for the work that you have put into finding a way to tie the community's property taxes to yet another project that does not generate revenue. This project will require obtaining and maintaining around 1 square mile of land, which costs the taxpayers money. This project will cost anywhere between $30 to $50 million when it is done, and it requires that the local citizens put the amount of cost required to generate 25,872,449 kilowatt hours annually, which, depending on the going rate, is between 4 to 10 million a year. While there is a small chance several thousand residents will sign up voluntarily to carry this project, most likely this will become another deficit to the community, along with all of the other projects this group of leaders embarked on. A while back, there was an orchestrated attack on the timber industry that used the presence of chemicals in local rivers that were used decades ago across the world. Mills were shut down, non-disclosure agreements were signed, and access to local forests was cut off. It's like this green energy initiative was someone's pet project. The timber industry maintained the health of the local forests, decreased wildfires, provided vital resources for all of the housing to be built, and brought in revenue. The mills did not cost the community a dime. They paid the employees well and gave to the nation. The groups that targeted the timber community have only designed projects that cost taxpayer money. On top of that, the use of EPA testing to back the direction has made national reports that show the water is so toxic, fish have absorbed it. Non-disclosure agreements keep stories from being told correctly. They exist so that we don't see how the strings were pulled. The rate at which this group of leaders make choices costs the residents their hard-earned money and increases the likelihood that the toxic fish stories will get pushed later. The logging community is a group of hardworking people that would not have given up their commitment to contribute to this nation. The story of the mills represent how this group of leaders made choices in order to accomplish their goals. You need lumber, but are unwilling to contribute anything towards the deficit of the lumber to create those goals of housing. The chemicals in the community from decades ago were marketed to good people as safe, just like the elected officials were marketed as helpful. There is a difference between making choices that cause deficits to the community and making choices that bring revenue. So thank you. Also, Sealy is trying to secede from the county because they are upset with the deficit. So I would really like us to take a look at how we're walking next to the parts of the county that are really upset about these things and if we're addressing those. So thank you for your time and your work. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments this evening, Mrs. Satanistoff. Next up for public comment. Anybody else up for public comment this evening? No.
So, Mayor Davis and council members and commissioners, I am Gary Matson, a 60-year resident of Missoula County and also a longtime student of energy issues. And I feel a little bit funny. Is there something on my cheek? Yeah, I'm going to have my wife read it, but I would just...
Go ahead and take a minute. You bet. Go ahead.
Okay. Why don't you read it, Judy, and I'll hold this.
Do that. You bet.
Okay, we're bringing in the sub.
No worries. We'll go ahead and get you restarted. Everything's okay.
Okay, I'm Judy Matson, and I'm delivering these remarks for Gary Matson. Commissioners, Mayor Davis, and council members, I am Judy Matson speaking for Gary Matson, a 6-year-old local resident and longtime student of Montana energy issues. Pardon me, my voice, due to the smoke, is a little rough. I strongly support your approval for the Green Power Program. It would enable clean energy process in our communities. One, it will contribute significantly to achieving the city-county goal of 100% clean energy for the Missoula urban area by 2030. Two, renewable energy, wind and solar, is widely recognized as the least expensive electricity generation resource. Its variability can be minimized by adding battery storage. The Green Power Program is an excellent opportunity to demonstrate the feasibility of large-scale renewable generation in Montana. 3, residents and businesses unable to utilize renewable energy for a variety of reasons will have that opportunity through the program. 4, the success of the Green Power Program and its popularity among local residents will encourage other Montana communities to find ways of increasing their utilization of renewable energy. 5, most importantly, the program will lessen the ongoing climate degradation caused by electricity generation resources utilizing fossil fuels. This climate emergency was recognized by the Missoula City County Resolution of April 18, 2019, that included this statement: there is overwhelming scientific consensus that the climate change is human-induced and primarily caused by our extensive release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The Green Power Program is an important progressive step for a more livable future. Heartfelt thanks to city and county staff and to the Climate Smart Missoula for the years of persistent effort that brought about this successful conclusion, and for the collaboration of Northwestern Energy. Thank you.
Ms. Matson, Mr. Matson, thank you for your comments this evening. Appreciate that. Additional public comment. Additional public comment on this agenda item.
Good evening, Shannon James with Montana Environmental Information Center, and I also am a Missoula resident. I want to thank the city and county staff for their persistence and dedication in getting the Green Power Program to this point. They stayed committed to this effort despite years of unnecessary delays from Northwestern Energy. And this is the kind of common sense program that should have been available to customers years ago. Today's hot, smoky conditions are another reminder that the need to transition to clean energy is urgent, and this program is a meaningful step towards helping Missoula achieve its ambitious clean electricity goals. And adopting the Lead Community Agreement allows us to finally get this project towards the finish line. As the program moves to the PSC, we will be watching to ensure participating customers pay a fair rate that reflects the value renewable energy brings to the grid. This program should benefit both customers and the broader community, and we're excited to see it finally move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. James. Appreciate your comments. Anybody else for public comment on this agenda item? Come on up.
Hello and good evening to all in attendance. My name is Leah Neese-Yeager. Happy to spell it if you need me to. And I'm here speaking on behalf of Families for a Livable Climate. I'm going to try and keep this relatively short because honestly, I think the news of simply being here speaks so wonderfully for itself. Bozeman already said yes on the 21st, and we're really here just to make it official, making it 3 for 3. And while I have not been involved in the process up until now, I'm grateful that I get to be here right now, watching the city and the county sit down together in the same room to say yes. I'd like to really emphasize how big of a deal it is to see collaboration like this unfold. Multiple local governments, a private utility, and lots of folks across multiple communities, all with different mandates, different pressures, different reasons to be cautious, all putting in the hard work of figuring out how to land in the same place. I know that we didn't land here by accident. It's the result of dedicated public servants, engaged community members, and years of hard work. I don't necessarily think that it's my place to weigh in on the fine print. I am a social worker, a mental health professional, and a community organizer. And there are energy policy experts and legal professionals who can speak to the nitty-gritty much more eloquently than I. But what I can speak to is how big of a deal it is to actually watch such collaboration take such strides, hold up across multiple competing interests, and land in a place that gives us hope for our collective future. It gives me hope to see that we are creating an avenue for clean energy development in our communities, and it gives me hope to see what's possible when people commit to staying at the table with each other, even when the work is slow and grueling and difficult. So thank you to the council and commissioners on both sides of the table, and to the representatives from Northwestern Energy, and to every staff member across organizations and institutions who've kept showing up to make this happen. Right now, our communities are suffering in this heat, suffering in this smoke, and craving clean energy options to help turn towards a different future. I also speak regularly to community members who express a sincere desire to be less held apart by polarization and to live in a world where our leaders can work together. So thank you very much for putting in the work so we can celebrate this win together. We're excited to see what happens next.
Thank you, Ms. Neese-Yeager. Did I get it right? Neese-Yeager. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Come on up.
I'll move this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Greetings, Mayor Davis, council members, and commissioners. My name is Jackson Crawford. I am a fifth-generation, lifelong Montanan. I was born in Bozeman and now a 12-year resident of Missoula. I'm currently the president of the Missoula Sunrise Rotary Club. I'm the business development manager at Onsite Energy and the co-founder and cooperative development director at CoBuild Montana, as well as a local advocate involved in numerous sustainable community and economic development initiatives. I am here to voice my strong support for the Green Power Program. This is an innovative and deeply thoughtful solution to multiple local problems. The Green Power Program would open the doors for Missoula to truly achieve our ambitious climate and sustainability goals. These goals and our follow-through on them are one of the primary examples I use when I tell friends, family, and colleagues about what makes Missoula so special. It may take longer than we'd wish, but staying focused in achieving these goals set our community apart from those who talk about action and those who take it. Some of the many benefits of the Green Power Program include accelerating municipal clean energy goals, expanding access to renewable energy to tens of thousands of energy consumers, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, providing long-term cost stability, benefiting Northwestern Energy operationally through established administrative and grid planning systems rather than fragmented individual arrangements, supporting Montana economic development through construction activity, tax revenue, landowner income, clean energy employment, and investment, enabling broader public-private partnership, converting policy into infrastructure, and creating a replicable model for all of these aforementioned benefits statewide. So the benefits are clear, and I can't see any negative impacts from the Green Power Program. The additional and uncaptured avoided carbon costs of renewable energy generation provided the Green Power Program make this already financially sound program an absolutely no-brainer. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your comments this evening, Mr. Crawford. Any additional public comment? Come on up. Feel free to adjust that microphone for your comfort. There you go. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Davis, City Council members, and County Commissioners. My name is Caitlin Pizercia, that's Caitlin Pisercia, and I'm here to represent the Montana chapter of the Sierra Club. We appreciate the opportunity to comment on the Green Power Program, and we applaud the community of Missoula for committing to reach 100% clean and renewable electricity by 2030 in the first place, way back in 2019. And we truly applaud the efforts of the Missoula City and County staff and elected officials to continue chipping away at the barriers to achieving that goal. In 2023, we spoke in support of moving the Green Power term sheet forward, and we're now happy to speak in support of approving this LEED community agreement. I also want to acknowledge that the fact that this Green Power Plan is a necessary step toward reaching our 100% goal as a community is itself an indication that our energy system in Montana is failing. Missoulians and other captive Northwestern Energy customers across the state should not have to beg Northwestern for clean renewable energy, and we should not let any arguments that renewable energy combined with energy storage is not as reliable or as affordable as fossil fuels go unchallenged. I'm concerned by the quote in the press release that Northwestern Energy is excited to move closer with the communities on a solution that addresses their needs while safeguarding safe, reliable, affordable service for all customers, which seems to me to imply that these goals might be at odds. And we are concerned that Northwestern Energy could use this plan to further push the lie that renewables are somehow at odds with safe, reliable, and affordable service, when in actuality, the company has a profit motive to pursue more expensive power plants like coal and natural gas that are not nearly as reliable as they're chalked up to be. And regulators and state lawmakers have yet to correct for this or provide the appropriate level of pushback. Since Missoula's commitment was passed in 2019, Northwestern Energy has submitted 3 different iterations of their integrated resource plan, their long-range energy plan, as required by Montana code. And all 3 of these are examples of the company's commitment to gaslighting the public. In all 3 plans, Northwestern presented skewed models with inaccurate inputs to support the business model of investing in expensive polluting power plants and passing the costs onto their captive customers. And even though independent consultant Synapse Energy found that there was a significant bias in the 2019 plan that made selecting for fossil fuels a foregone conclusion, regulators have so far failed to get the company to use accurate data and unbiased modeling that places an accurate value on renewables and energy storage. At the same time, Northwestern Energy lobbyists at the state legislature have demonstrated the same commitment to fossil fuels year in and year out, playing a key role in stopping good renewable energy bills and propping up fossil fuels in all legislative sessions since 2019. This included supporting local preemption bills to restrain local authority across Montana to pass local laws on fossil fuels.
Are you about wrapped up there? You're past your 3 minutes.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will wrap it up. So I think this is important to highlight because while I know there are hardworking employees within Northwestern Energy who truly want to see more renewable energy in Montana, the PR arm of Northwestern Energy has historically served company goals that move in direct opposition to Missoula's 100% goal. And unfortunately, Montana media outlets still too often take Northwestern at their word So I want to just ask everyone in this room to not lose track of the larger struggle as we make moves forward on this green power plan.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yeah, thank you very much for your hard work, and thank you again to the city and county staff and elected officials who've steadfastly pursued this commitment.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. Other members of the public wishing to make comment on this agenda item?
Hi, my name is Mary Giuliani, and I wasn't planning on speaking on this issue today, but there were so many pieces when people are talking about the heat increasing. We had over 100-degree day a couple days ago. So it's great that we're looking towards solutions, right? That we're looking at mitigating our impacts that we're having on the climate. But I'm here to remind you again of the incongruencies that are existing between actions taken. So this might be trying to find a solution. We also want to look at the root causes, right? One of those is clear cutting of trees, which is currently has been approved to take place at the Midtown Commons site. Over 200 trees will be clear cut, some of those including a cottonwood grove, which are not only a keystone species in Montana, but they're also known for their carbon sequestration. So as we're going forward, again, we want to think about, yes, these climate impacts, but we also want to think about what might we, and by we, I mean you all who have the power, what are you doing that's also contributing to this? Thanks.
Thanks for your comments, Ms. Giuliani. Additional public comment on this agenda item?
Hello, I'm Amy Sillenberg, Cilimburg. I'm the Executive Director at Climate Smart Missoula. Our name has been brought up a little bit in this because we did start working on this and thinking about what levers could we as a community pull to get ourselves to 100% clean electricity to ultimately do our part to address the climate crisis. And I just want to mention a few things. One, it's really hard to work on climate change year after year after year and then have a summer like we're having right now. A lot of us do look for the people and the things that happen that give us hope. And so tonight is one of those times where we can both think about the people that got us started on this and the good they brought to this, and then the collaboration that we're here to, in part celebrate with you all. So again, Tom Platt's name is forever part of this, as he was one of the instigators and just kept pushing. I think after this meeting, I will text Chase Jones, Diana Mineta, Caroline Bean, who are all part of this. And what they learned as being part of this has then taken them elsewhere, and they continue to do really good work. So we are all in this together. It needs all of us collaboration to push this rock up the hill. So thanks to the council members here and those before you that got this started, and to the commissioners here and before you who got this started and were willing to take some difficult challenges to staff this, bring the capacity forward, and keep it going. So I also really do want to thank the staff that are here. It's really great to work with the folks behind you that you've already heard from, and I really appreciate all the work that they've put in to continue to do this. So we are continuing to work on climate. This is one lever that we can pull. It has taken too long, and we do hope that Northwestern Energy abides by the commitments they've put forward and really help us get this to the Public Service Commission and get this going, and that we look for other levers that we can pull. So it is a good night to acknowledge these commitments and progress that we're making. And thank you so much for being willing to get in the weeds a little on something that's not always fun, but it's been really good. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments and your partnership, Ms. Sillenberg. All right. Anybody else wishing to make public comment on this agenda item this evening? Anybody else wishing to make public comment on this agenda item?
Good evening, councilors, commissioners, Mayor Davis. My name is James Crosby, Ward 1, and I would like to say that this is a cool thing. I'm a little bit disappointed that it has taken this long to get this kind of an idea to come forward. I'm a little bit disappointed that it doesn't do as much as it could. I'm a little bit disappointed that it's something voluntary. But I'm excited that we're here and that we have the opportunity. With something as complicated as climate change, I think it's hard to pick one solution that is going to be the one that does it. It's a lot of different things from a lot of different angles. The Green Power program, as imperfect as it might be, deserves our attention. It's been going for a long time, since some of our commissioners were in 8th grade, and it still has a long way to go. When the country was founded, our country, America, celebrating its 250th anniversary, the Constitution was put forward not as a perfect document, but a step in the right direction. This should be seen the same. It's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. This idea has momentum. This idea has promise. And this idea deserves your yes vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Thanks for your comments. All right. Anybody else for public comment this evening on this agenda item? In the room here, and then I'll go online. All right, I don't see any in the room, so I'll move to folks online. I do see that there is a hand raised. Derek Goldman, please go ahead and unmute. We're ready to hear from you. I'll time you on this side. 3 minutes.
Hey, can you hear me?
Sure can, thank you.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Davis, commissioners, and council members. This is Derek Goldman. I'm speaking tonight both as a city resident and supporter of renewable energy development and as the Montana Policy and Regulatory Associate for the Northwest Energy Coalition, a regional nonprofit alliance of more than 100 environmental, civic, human service organizations, progressive utilities, and businesses. And the coalition's mission is to advance clean, equitable, and affordable energy policies in Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. I work on energy policy at the state level, as well as regulatory proceedings at the Public Service Commission. We're currently involved in several of Northwestern Energy's dockets at the PSC, including the merger with Black Hills, the large new load tariff proposal, and the integrated resource plan. I'm here today to offer support for the Green Power Plan, for it is a small but significant step in bringing more renewable generation onto the grid and accessible to utility customers. As a joint community utility project, it differs from rooftop solar or other customer-owned behind-the-meter projects in that it creates a way for communities, large customers, potentially residential customers, and those who don't have an ideal setup or space or ability to build their own rooftop system to purchase renewable energy. And with the Green Power Plan, electric customers will be able to subscribe to the joint energy resource and pay for only the renewable energy that they need and use. As we saw from the timeline, it's been more than 6 years to get to this point. It shouldn't have taken this long. As a result, input costs have gone up. Federal infrastructure programs that would have made this project more affordable to future ratepayers have expired. That's on Northwestern. And I applaud the city and county for seizing the opportunity to leverage the pending utility merger to move this project closer to fruition. Not only will it assist the community's clean energy goals, but it will hopefully demonstrate to Northwestern that utility scale, community initiated clean energy projects can work without administrative cost or headache for the utility. That is sorely needed. Last legislative session, we supported a bill to authorize community solar projects similar to this, a bill that would have increased equitable access to affordable energy, especially for utility customers who rent their home or lack usable rooftop space or can't afford the upfront costs for a rooftop system. But Northwestern lobbied against the bill, and ultimately the governor vetoed it. So our hope is that projects like this can be successful and can demonstrate coexistence and even complement the traditional utility customer model. And we thank the city, county staff, past and present, for all of their work to get to this point, and we urge the county and the city to endorse it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments this evening, Mr. Goldman. Anybody else online wishing to make comment on this agenda item? Not seeing any. All right. I do see one. Nope, that's a council member, so I'll come back on that in here just a second. All right, so that does wrap up our public comment. Thank you all so much for providing your comments this evening. We'll bring it back now to parliamentary debate, both for council and for commissioners. And so we'll start with Councillor Jones, please.
I'll keep it brief. I just want to say thank you to all of the work that has gone into this. I've sat through hours of meetings as it was explained over and over to us as it went through the different phases. It's complicated. It's taken persistence and really smart people working on it. I'm so grateful to you guys. I'm very hopeful this gets over the ultimate finish line, and I'll be looking forward to signing up. So thanks for all of your work.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. And Councillor Krask.
Thanks. Gwen promised to keep it brief. I don't have that promise because I have some prepared comments. I first want to start by saying thanks to staff, county partners, and everyone who has spent years bringing this program to this point. I truly believe that we get more done when we work together, and this program is a great example of the many different community and statewide partners it took to get to this point. When Missoula adopted its goal of 100% clean energy, we were making a promise to future generations that we would do our part to build a healthier, more resilient community. Tonight is about continuing to hold up our end of that bargain. Like many families in Missoula, and quite frankly, across the nation, we're all spending another summer asking whether it's safe for anyone to be outside due to wildfire smoke. Days of extreme heat keeps people indoors instead of enjoying our parks, trails, neighborhoods, and beautiful state. These aren't isolated events anymore. Although smoke and heat events can be inconsistent from year to year, these decisions and this smoke and heat have certainly become a regular part of summer life in Montana. It's important to note that these climate experiences are directly tied with the action we're making tonight. Most of our electricity is still generated by burning fossil fuels. We all know that this process releases greenhouse gases that trap heat in our atmosphere. As the climate warms, we see hotter temperatures, longer periods of drought, and the conditions that allow wildfires to burn larger, longer, and more intensely. While no single program can solve climate change, expanding access to clean electricity addresses one of its root causes. Every step we take to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is a step towards protecting the places, seasons, and quality of life that make Missoula home. This program gives our community something we don't currently have: choice. This program creates a pathway to invest in new renewable energy generation here in Montana while helping move our community toward the clean energy future we've committed to, that our state has committed to. Montana's Constitution enshrines the right to a clean and healthful environment, and as a community, we need to do our part. We owe it to future generations. Further, climate change doesn't affect everyone equally. Families living paycheck to paycheck, seniors, children, people with chronic health conditions, and renters often bear the greatest burden from extreme heat and wildfire smoke while having the fewest resources to adapt. Community members have to make the choice between a cool night's sleep and clean air. This season extends into the school year as well. As a teacher, I knew all too well how hard it was to teach and how hard it was for students to learn when it was so hot outside, but we had to keep windows closed for air quality, making it even hotter in the unair-conditioned buildings. Beyond simple air cooling and cleaning, many residents are not able to install rooftop solar, improve the energy efficiency of their homes, or afford other investments that reduce both energy costs and climate impacts. I sure hope equity remains central as this program evolves. A clean energy future shouldn't be reserved for those who can afford it most. We're often told that climate change is too big for individuals or cities to meaningfully address, but I don't believe that's true. We may not solve this challenge on our own, but every community has a responsibility to lead where it can. Progress happens because communities choose action over inaction, one meaningful decision at a time. To me, this isn't simply an energy policy. It's about what kind of community we want to leave our children. A livable Missoula and Montana is one where kids can spend summer afternoons outside without checking the air quality first. It's a community that aligns its values with its actions, and it's one that recognizes sustainability and equity aren't competing priorities. In fact, they're deeply connected. This agreement is a practical step toward that future, and I'm proud to support it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Krask. And Councillor Anderson.
I do put him on the record for saying I shouldn't go after Betsy, and so I'm just going to +1 everything that she just said, and just not bother to make any additional comments other than to thank the staff and to thank, it's so lovely to see Brian here, back from when I was in elementary school and we started this. And, you know, and also I know that Councilwoman Cheryl is not able to be here, but I think that she took the baton and ran with it, and want to acknowledge her work as well, and just all the staff time and this exciting opportunity, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And so I don't think anybody here who's been investing so much time and energy is going to be taking their foot off the accelerator anytime soon. Maybe not a great energy analogy there, but it does seem very apropos that unfortunately, you know, many of us today were looking, I know myself and my family members were looking to see what was the air quality, and where in the state could we send, you know, relatives who were in poor health to try to find decent, clean air. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of options. So it's unfortunate when Mother Nature reminds us of these things, that we have work and we're running out of time. And so thank you to everyone who's been doing the work to this point, and look forward to the continued collaboration going forward.
Thank you, Counselor. And Counselor Cheryl, please.
Yeah, hi. And I'm really sorry I can't be there with everyone tonight to celebrate this, because it is a big milestone, and I know that we're not there yet, and I know that we need to keep pushing, but I'm really happy that we've gotten as far as we are. And I just, Betsy said it really well, but I also want to just say thank you to everyone that has been involved in this since the dawn of time. But it really has taken an incredible amount of tenacity, and I just appreciate that we have civil servants that are willing to do that. And yeah, I mean, that's amazing. If I came in to it years ago and have done very little by comparison to everyone else, but it takes a village, and it takes a village that keeps moving forward. And so thank you so much to everyone for getting us to this step. And again, I'm sorry I can't be there in person tonight, because I think this is just a big moment.
Thank you, Counselor Cheryl. Understandable that you had work obligations, and we're happy that you can participate remotely, in particular this evening, knowing how much this item means to you. Counselor Savage.
Yeah, I will be brief as well. But about 2 years ago, Councilor Cheryl handed over the reins to the Climate and Conservation Committee to me to be the chair for a very brief window of 2 years. And she was like, okay, so there's this thing. And we got to sit down and talk about it. And then we sat down with staff and talked about it. And I think Ann Geiger came into the middle of this, and her team has really worked hard. We've lost some staff members along the way. Avora in particular, I can remember meeting consistently and just getting continued updates from Avora, who seemed extremely patient with this process. But I do just want to note just how hard, our city staff has worked, how hard county staff has worked, and how hard people just with tenacity kept coming back to this. A special thank you to Climate Smart Missoula, and a special thank you to Councilor Cheryl for continuing to champion this. And she was the chair of the Climate and Parks Committee. She went on to be City Council President. She's back being the chair of Climate and Parks, and here we are. So just a particular thank you to those folks.
All right. Appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. I see no more council members' hands raised, so I'll turn it over to the Board of County Commissioners and Commissioner Slotnick. Oh,
Thanks.
I have another, but we'll turn it over to these guys, and then we'll come back to you, Councilor Campbell. Thank you.
So I already said my piece, and I'm glad a lot of people remember my middle school roots. Would you guys like to add anything?
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming out tonight. Just a few comments of level setting, and so there's some in the room who will not be surprised by this, but when it comes to wildfire and smoke, I want to be clear that in July, in the Northern Rockies in Montana, smoke and fire is not anomalous. While we are here tonight to recognize that the action we're taking tonight is all about mitigating climate change, and the effects of climate change are real and present. As long as there's been dried vegetation and lightning commingling on the landscape of the Northern Rockies, there has been fire. And in fact, roll back the clock to August 20th and 21st, 1910, the largest fire complex in recorded history in the Northern Rockies, over 3 million acres, occurred. Pre-industrial, anthropogenic climate change impacts. So anyway, with that little editorial statement out of the way, I did a little archaeological investigation of my inbox, my email inbox today, and while Brian was exactly correct in the slide up here that there were precursors of what we are doing tonight that go back to 2018 and even earlier than that, my inbox showed December of 2019 in Big Sky, Montana. And I think, Brian, you and I are maybe the only survivors in the room of that gathering, where Northwestern Energy, the city of Missoula, the city of Bozeman, Missoula County, the community of Big Sky, and the city of Helena all came together to start the brainstorming process that eventually, yes, after almost 7 years, has gotten us to where we are today. I have no desire to lament how long it has taken to get us to where we are today, because I think we too frequently seize the moment of celebration. And tonight, I think, even though the future is wrought with peril, tonight is a moment of celebration, and I look forward to going before the PSC in lockstep with Northwestern Energy to do what has not been done in the state of Montana before. Ladies and gentlemen, the city of Bozeman, city of Missoula, and Missoula County are at the tip of the spear when it comes to doing something like this, and not just issuing what might be seen as vacuous resolutions or statements of support, but actually rolling up our sleeves and taking concrete action that a few years from now will hopefully result in a utility scale renewable energy project. So thanks to the staff of Missoula County, the city of Bozeman, who I think we need to give accolades to, Northwestern Energy, and everyone is stuck with this long game to get us to where we are today. So I look forward to supporting the motion that I made.
I just have so much gratitude to share. And Charlie, you mentioned the perseverance and patience. I was a zygote commissioner. I missed out on the April 2019 meeting. So I became aware of this in October of 2019. Park City Mountain Town Summit, Brian von Lossberg was there. Heather Bellamy from Northwestern, who has since passed away. Steve Clausen, Northwestern, since passed away. John Bushnell, Northwestern, all together talking about this. And that energy was so special, and it's amazing. Yes, we're still in it. We have Amy Sillenberg, who was here, and so much gratitude for Diana Mineta and Carolyn Bean, Chase Jones, and we're here today. And so very excited, and so much gratitude, and enjoy, like my fellow commissioner. We're celebrating.
All right. Not quite yet. We're not quite done, but thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you for your comments, commissioners. We do have one more council member with their hands raised. Councilor Campbell.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was up earlier, but anyways, thank you. I will be supportive of this agreement. I think a lot of homework's been done, obviously, over many, many years, and showed in the presentation and follow through tonight and from committee last week. There are a lot of hurdles yet that need to be jumped over, a lot of boxes to check. And, as we go forward, I do have some concerns with, how this all will roll out. Obviously, first with the Public Service Commission and then with the subscriber agreements. And, then you're going to start getting into those RFPs, and then the costs are going to be borne to, first of all, locate where that system is going to go or places, and then to what extent we're going to have a portfolio of wind or solar for that system and how much, that'll cost. Hopefully we get to a place when we get to that point that we have other partners on board, right? Initially it's just going to be the cities, county that are going to bear much of the burden on this. And to the extent that we could get, businesses on board, industry, commercial on board, and residential on board, I think will help, spread out that cost and get more stakeholders involved with actually bringing this infrastructure online. That said, to the extent that, we as the city or the county is going to bear a cost on this, I think it should be noted that there is potential, if there's a raise in rates on the city or county's, standpoint to rates to cover the cost of this green tariff, that, that's an electric bill that, as far as I'm seeing in my time here in council, that's borne upon all the taxpayers of the city of Missoula, all the taxpayers of Missoula County. So I don't think it's quite absolutely 100% accurate to say that this is totally insulated cost to those that subscribe. That may be the case, it may not, but I want to put that out there. The other thing I'll mention too is, this was brought up last Wednesday too, just make sure everyone's aware that, as a residence or commerce or industry buys into this plan, you invest in it, and you're investing in that infrastructure, absolutely no doubt, but you're still receiving your power from Northwestern Energy's total energy portfolio. And as of today, that includes wind and solar. It also includes hydro, also includes natural gas, and yes, it also includes coal. So we will continue to be using that portfolio. With that being said, a little segue, the Department of Energy is making a really big push right now to invest and fast track micronuclear reactors across the country. And in fact, I think there's talk of an experimental reactor at Malmstrom Air Force Base, hopefully sometime in the near future. I think that is another additional source of clean energy that could be added to the portfolio. But all that being said, I think a lot of the groundwork's laid here for a good possibility of success. So with that all considered, for the here and now, where we're at, I will be in support.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Campbell. Looks like we have wrapped up all of our council comments, and before I turn it over to Ms. Trimble for votes, what we'll do is we'll start with City Council and do a roll call vote, and then I'll turn it over to the County Commissioners for their votes. Before I do that, I too just want to express my gratitude for the persistence and tenacity of the staff members and community members that are joining us today, folks that have been here and have moved on from these chambers, our partners in Northwestern Energy and Climate Smart and other community organizations, and the City of Bozeman. We too hope that there is future opportunities with other communities as we prove this program to be successful. I, for one, am honored to be holding the mantle of this position today, knowing that many people have been working on this for years and years to get to this point. And I'm just very eager to get to the next step and appreciate not only, again, the perseverance, the vision, and the tenacity, but also the faith to see that we can do something that is difficult, that might feel insurmountable, and yet here we are achieving this today. So thank you all so much. And with that, Ms. Trimble will do a roll call vote with City Council, please.
All right. For City Council's vote to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Green Power Program Lead Community Agreement on behalf of the City of Missoula, beginning with Anderson.
Yes.
Becerra.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Krask.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
McCoy.
Aye.
Melson.
Yes.
Nugent.
Yes.
Ponton.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
And Cheryl.
Yes.
And that passes unanimously.
Excellent. Thank you. That is the council vote, and I will turn it over to Commissioner Slotnick.
Thanks, Mayor. So we have a motion from Commissioner Strohmeyer and a second from Commissioner Barrow, and we have lots of public comment. Okay, all in favor. Aye. Aye. Thank you so much for having us at your meeting. It's been a pleasure.
It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here, and that was a unanimous vote by the Board of County Commissioners of Missoula County as well. All right, and with that, this adjourns this agenda item 4.2. Thank you all for coming down this evening, taking part in this conversation and in this momentous occasion, and we hope to have more as this program progresses. Thank you all so much.
Not that we don't want you to come back.
Do some more good work together. Folks, we're just going to do a 5-minute break just while folks can leave the room. So we'll do a 5-minute recess. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and bring us back to order. Reconvene the meeting of the Missoula City Council, 7:33 p.m. Thanks for the break there. Appreciate that. We are moving on to item number 5, which is public comment for items not on the agenda. And this first period of public comment for items not on the agenda is limited to 20 minutes total, with up to 3 minutes allotted per speaker. Each person may speak once per meeting concerning items that are not on the agenda, and in-person comments do take precedence. Sign up is required. I have the sign up sheet here, and follows a first come, first served basis. The second period of public comment on items not on the agenda will follow immediately after the conclusion of all regular business and continue until all comments have been taken. So with that, we know that Ms. Antanistoff has already made her comment. She asked us to be taken off this list. And the next person that we have up that has signed is Marissa Bentzy. Marissa Bentzy? She was the other commenter. Great. Chris Kennedy, come on up.
That a person could come into this place and deliver a public comment at a predictable time. Just not too long ago, that was modified. We had no public comment at the beginning of meetings, more or less ending public comment practically. Today, I was here, well, I am here. I am real, I am present, I am before you. And I was expecting to comment early. I have back issues. After a day of work, it is not easy for me to sit here for an hour and a half. Nevertheless, I have, because now I see that this victory I thought that people of the city had made in getting their public comment back at a predictable time is a bit tainted, is it not? Apparently, the language in the beginning is too ambiguous. Perhaps the 20 minutes could have been placed before that very long discussion. But anyway, that's not what I came here to talk about. As I said, I expected to, speak fairly early. But it is emblematic, or even symptomatic, yes, that's better, of what I came here to talk about, which is the lack of transparency and the pro forma way the city has taken lately of addressing serious issues. Let's look no further than a couple lawsuits. I mean, there were a few this month. One of municipal court judges asking for public access to documents, having to sue the city to do that. Incredible. I don't even really remember what I wanted to say anymore, to be honest. I just want to go home and lay down now. However, let me say very clearly and with no I have minutes. Just give me a second here. Ambiguity, my man. Let me say how glad I am to look at 9 city council people and the mayor and have all of your eyes looking back at me. It's kind of irritating to sometimes see you guys taking care of your Candy Crush saga on the laptop while we're here hoping to meet eyes and provide presence. I do this because I think it's so valuable, the human-to-human interaction. And please, let's get Missoula to be the place it needs to be, where we take care of business in a progressive and kind way. Yeah, listen to the people.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, and thanks for sticking it out tonight to make your public comment. That is everybody that has signed up for public comment in this session. As we have been allowing, though, there is still time on the clock if anybody wishes to make public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Okay, not seeing any in the audience. How about online? Not seeing any online. That does wrap up our public comment for items that are not on the agenda. Right. Next, we'll move to public hearings. We do have one public hearing this evening. It's item 6.1 on the agenda, dealing with Missoula Municipal Code 3.17, Waterline Loan Program, and Sewer Line Loan Program. And we do have Mr. McGinnis, I believe here, staff member Logan McGinnis, to give us the staff report on this agenda item, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And I'm really apologize. I'm having camera issues tonight, so I guess you just have to stare at my photograph. So I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
So I'm Logan McInnes. I'm the Deputy Public Works Director for Utilities. And the item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing regarding ordinances amending Missoula Municipal Code chapters 3.17 and 3.18 and establishing a new chapter 3.15 entitled Water Service Line Replacement Rebate Program. So, I mean, all this effort it's really kind of a cleanup. And generally speaking, it's taking rebates out of the loan so you can get a rebate without having to get a loan. And stepping back a little bit, a rebate is basically an encouragement. We want to provide people to, instead of maybe doing a Band-Aid repair on a water service leak, if you agree to replace a portion of your service line, then we give you a rebate to try to get more folks to do these more full replacements. So I guess maybe I should just go to the recommended motion, and then I guess you guys can ask other questions if you have them. So the motion is to adopt the ordinance amending Missoula. Well, I guess can I ask, do I need to read it verbatim?
Well, thank you for asking, Mr. McGinnis. We'll go ahead and have a councilor member do that, and I do believe that Councilor Becerra has asked Councilor Nugent to do that this evening.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you so much. So the staff presentation's been made, and before we hear the motion, I just want to see if there are any questions from council. Any questions from council members? Okay. Not seeing any questions from council, and of course this item has been through committee, so I'm sure folks have had an opportunity there. We'll go ahead and hear the motion. Councilor Nugent.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. I move City Council approve ordinances amending Missoula Municipal Code chapters 3.17 entitled Water Line Loan Program to remove the language regarding the loan forgiveness, update the eligibility and application documents required for the loan, update the payee of the loan check, and enable the Utility Services Appeals Committee to grant exceptions, amending Chapter 3.18 entitled Sewer Line Loan Program to update the eligibility and application documents required for the loan, update the payee of the loan check, and enable the Utility Service Appeals Committee to grant exceptions, and establishing Chapter 3.15 entitled Water Service Line Replacement Rebate Program to detach the language from Chapter 3.17 entitled Water Service Line Loan Program, separate the rebate amount, and clarify program language.
Thank you very much for reading that, President Nugent. All right, the motion's on the floor. The public hearing is open. Opportunity to hear public comment on this agenda item. Public comment on this agenda item. Not seeing any in the room? How about online? Anybody online wishing to make public comment on this agenda item? Okay. Not seeing any public comment or any hands raised online. We'll bring it back to council. Are there any comments or questions pop up from any council members? All right. Not seeing any. That wraps up our public hearing. We will go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
All right, voting on this evening's public hearing to adopt changes to the Missoula Municipal Code, beginning with Becerra.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Krask.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
McCoy.
Aye.
Melson.
Yes.
Nugent.
Yes.
Ponton.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
And Anderson.
Yes.
And that passes unanimously.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Mr. McGinnis, for your staff presentation. And that wraps up. You're welcome. That wraps up that public hearing and all public hearings. We only had the one this evening. We don't have any new business, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. And Ms. Trimble, when you're ready, if you'll go ahead and share the consent agenda on screen and then read through the items for us.
All right. On this evening's consent agenda, we begin with motion to ratify accounts payable for checks dated July 21st, 2021 in the amount of $1,132,340.73, and another motion to approve accounts payable for checks dated July 28th, 2026 in the amount of $2,103,523.24. We have a motion to set a public hearing on August 10th, 2026 and adopt a resolution of intention to vacate the 60-foot Dixon Avenue right-of-way running east-west in the blocks 60 and 63 of Carline Addition, a recorded subdivision of the Missoula County, Montana, located in Section 32 T13N R19W, Principal Meridian, Montana. We have a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the professional services agreement with Morrison Merrily for the replacement of the PLC 600 and PLC 700 at the wastewater treatment plant at a cost not to exceed $102,800. We have a motion to set a public hearing for August 10th, 2026 to adopt a resolution of intent to vacate a portion of the cul-de-sac lying southwest of the extension of the southwesterly tangent of Expo Parkway, located in the Plat of Commerce Center in the northwest quarter of Section 5 13 North R19 West, Principal Meridian, Missoula, Montana. We have a motion to reappoint Tyler Albrechtson as a regular member for a term beginning immediately and expiring on April 30th, 2029 to the Parks and Recreation Board, and to reappoint Derek Canwisher to the alternate 1 slot for a term beginning immediately and expiring April 30th, 2029, and to reappoint Sam Duncan to the alternate 2 slot for a term beginning immediately and expiring on April 30th, 2028. And our last item of business is a motion to set a public hearing for August 24th, 2026 to solicit public comment on whether the Wildflower Apartments meet a community housing need for their request for property tax exemption.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Trimble, for reading the list aloud. I'll turn it over to the public to see if there are any members of the public that wish to consent or comment on the consent agenda. Come on up. You can adjust that microphone for your comfort there.
Kennedy is so much taller than I am. Mayor, council people, glad to be here. Good to see you. And Carrie Schreiber, Ward 4, Southgate Triangle. And I liked how the one guy introduced himself with his Montana roots. So I'm fifth generation Montanan, Irish potato farming, refugees, I guess you'd say, immigrants, homesteaders. And if you all are familiar with the old Western book and movies of Virginian, I'm a descendant of that guy, or the guy that was based off of. So when you're talking about tenacity and connecting with people and having a little sense of humor, I like to credit him just for some of that I carry. I am curious about how we're doing these vacation of easements, especially the one that's right in my neighborhood. I didn't find out about that until after the comment period had closed. And I'm on my neighborhood council. I live like 2 blocks from there, and I am, all in your guys' business all the time. So for me to not know that makes me wonder if there's some sort of process that would better inform at least adjacent neighbors, maybe touching base with the neighborhood council when that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of these vacation of easements with the new Brook Street corridor plan. And if we're setting the precedent of not requiring any contribution from these owners to, Affordable Housing Trust Fund or towards the expenses for the overall Brooks project, which may end up being really expensive, I think that might be a little short-sighted just to be going along with the excitement of moving forward with that. It is a functioning road right now, and people are able to turn right on there to avoid going up to the Paxson light, so it'll start backing people up on Brooks a little bit. It will change the flow. And it sounded like there was still going to be a 20-foot easement in there. Is that going to be walkable, or is that just for the water line? Just the public is losing space in this, and we're giving something really valuable to the owner. It's a clear win for the owner. It is a clear win for taxable income for the city. But I just wonder about that notifying and maybe thinking about some type of contribution as we set precedents on this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Schreiber. Anybody else for public comment on the consent agenda? Not seeing any in the room. Any online? All right, not seeing any online. I'll check back with council members to see if anybody would like to separate an item from the consent agenda or abstain from voting this evening. Okay. No separations, then we can do a voice vote. Ms. Trimble.
Voting on this evening's consent agenda, all in favor, say aye.
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 And any opposed? And that passes unanimously.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We have no business, no items listed under regular business, agenda item number 10. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is number 11, public comment for items that are not on the agenda. This is the second installment for those that did not comment the first time. So any members of the public that wish to make comment for items that are not on the agenda.
Mary Schreiber again, Southgate Triangle, Ward 4. The land acknowledgement at the beginning of the meeting really seemed remarkable, seems relevant for our pet issue of honoring the proposed open space along the waterway in Midtown. We recently had a former, my brain is about done like Chris is when he's here. Somebody that was on the Open Space Advisory Committee commented on a public Facebook post that Greenway area, which is just one small aspect of the land that y'all are wanting to develop, was considered and was talked about for proposed open space. So now we have the Midtown Master Plan that has it all through there in language and depicted visually, and hearing from an open space advisory person who says that she's very willing to be public, and man, she is a powerhouse. We take that with all the discussion tonight of the heat index and the smoke and all that. The heat sink that will radiate if you eliminate that open water and mature trees. I mean, even I would hate to have you cut down the trees, but if you're to cut down the trees, leave the water open and then just grow more riparian habitat, that would still work with that resilience factor that our neighborhood that is clearly in need by all of your official plans. To remove a resiliency factor in a heat sink is really, really short-sighted. I do hope that there's going to be room for intelligent, balanced design moving forward on this. When we talk about the social equity with the heat index, and I know we've talked about, it's in the morning that there's the 18-degree difference. Well, for me, that means you can open up your windows and your doors and get cool air in, that you may not be so reliant on AC. And I just think we need to have thoughtful decision. I understand the excitement of maximizing housing, and we have always been pro-housing in this, but with intelligent design to maintain the proposed open space and just our clear need for our disenfranchised neighborhood. And In other public news, if there's a minute, there's a daycare closing that was announced today. I thought it was really nice that they gave a full month notice, and it sounds like they've been talking with their families for quite a while. It's a small daycare, 17 kids. Their building that they were in was sold. They weren't able to find a replacement building. She had run this daycare for 20 years. I mean, that is some longevity. That's someone that knows what they're doing. And if she's not making it, she's anticipating other daycares aren't going to make it. Like, what is our plan there? Childcare is an essential organ to a working economy of a community. And yeah, I hope that folks are taking a look at that and maybe could talk with that owner about what the barriers were and what could be improved, because it's just not something that we can go short on. Thank you all, and
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Schreiber. All right. Any other members of the public that haven't had a chance to speak on items not on the agenda? Please come on up.
Hello again. My name is Mary Giuliani, and I wanted to thank Councillor Campbell for his comments at the end of the last City Council meeting regarding the dark money that has infiltrated Missoula's elections, and how that shows up here and how that affects our city. So I want to thank you for having the courage to openly, publicly say something about that. I think it's really important, and it's obviously an important conversation that needs to be had amongst all of you. I heard some people say, hey, we didn't take the money, but they didn't take a stance on dark money. Councillor McCoy, I also want to thank you. You talked about dark money being poisonous to our election system and governments in general. We see the poison. It exists. It's a very unhealthy system. No matter how we try to spin it or whatever the narrative control is, the cracks are becoming crevices. The information is getting out. The lawsuits are stacking up. So clearly, the system has been poisoned. And my hope is that there's more integrity in calling these things out. There's more integrity in saying, I don't accept dark money and taking a stance against that. And just, I guess this links to this Midtown Commons project again with this lack of transparency piece. We are one of the lawsuits that have been filed against this city. It's unfortunate that we've gotten to this place. You yourself have talked about the importance of meeting with your constituents, doing it early, making sure you're including them. We asked you repeatedly to meet with us and you refused. So it's very unfortunate that you're at this point. It's very unfortunate that we're at this point. And we are pro-neighbors. We're pro-sustainable development. We're pro-housing. We're pro-Missoula. And we're pro-environment. So kind of coming back to these climate mitigation resolutions or whatever you're doing, passing, look at the actions that you're taking. In one of the hottest zones in Missoula, you're clear cutting mature trees, which again goes against all of these things that the city has said. So thank you, Councillor Campbell. Thank you, Councillor McCoy. I'd be really curious to hear other people's stances on dark money and how that influences elections in Missoula and where you stand on that issue. Be clear about it.
Thank you, Ms. Giuliani. Anybody else that hasn't had a chance to make public comment on items not on the agenda? Now's your time. All right, not seeing any then. Not seeing any in the room. How about online? All right. Not sending any online either. That does wrap up our public comment for items that are not on the agenda. Thank you all very much. Oh, somebody has raised their hand. Sure, you bet. Online. Phone number ending in 4334. Please go ahead and unmute. I'll time you up for 3 minutes on this side. You show to be unmuted on our side.
Hello?
Here. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Taylor Fontaine, I am the girl in the yellow car being chased by Officer Big House. And honestly, I had a lot more that I'd want to talk about. I feel like it wouldn't really matter. My only concern is I just want to know why is he still employed with the lawsuit that was filed for a wrongful death and then me getting tased. I don't care about any righting wrongs, rights, or anything. I want to know why he is still able to hold a badge and the ability and all the possibilities to potentially harm somebody else.
Ms. Taylor, are you complete with your comment there?
I mean, I have so much more to say, but the minutes you're going to allow me isn't worth it. So it's not, I can't get out what I have to say in that. That's just my only concern right now.
Thank you for joining us to make your public comment. All right. Anybody else online? All right. Not seeing any additional comment, then that wraps up our public comment for items that are not on the agenda. I'll move on to communications from the mayor. Just briefly wanted to address that I'm looking forward to bringing the executive budget presentation to you on Wednesday. Thank you for your understanding and patience as we've had some critical staff members dealing with some critical issues. And that extra week was really helpful. So I'm very much looking forward to the conversation. And as mentioned, we built in lots of time for council deliberation and approval. But I will just quickly review our calendar. So Wednesday the 29th, the executive proposed budget presentation will take place mid-morning, around 10 in the morning. And then there's an opportunity there, although not part of your current council. If you wanted to deliberate, you could as early as Wednesday. And then the 5th, 12th, and if needed, the 19th. We are planning on opening the public hearing for the city FY27 City of Missoula budget on the 10th, Monday the 10th, with the potential to either accept on the 17th or the 24th. We could go as late as the 31st if we really wanted to. We just have to have it done by September. So just wanted to give an update on that. Thank you very much. I also wanted to mention, we talked quite a bit about our partners and the work that we've been doing, the City of Missoula, the county, and partners like Climate Smart. And Climate Smart's got a really great website if folks have not had a chance to take a look, montanawildfiresmoke.org. They've got a few things on there and as well as some very low-cost ways of creating basically a filter if you can't afford a HEPA or don't have a HEPA filter at home, to make sure that we're cleaning the air after doors are open and windows are open to cool one's house down. But a lot of really good information on today's air, health impacts of wildfire smoke, HEPA rebates, and so our partners with Climate Smart continue in partnership with the City of Missoula and the County of Missoula to get this important information out there. And so with that, I'll go ahead and conclude my mayor comments, and I will turn it over to City Council to see who may want to make comment tonight. I'll start with you, Councilor Jordan.
Thank you. I just want to thank all of the public commenters that came out tonight. I think that we need to keep hearing from you to remind us what our job is, and that is to represent the people who vote and who live in this town. And so I'm grateful that you all come and provide public comment. I think that, one way that we can really address dark money is by voting yes on I-194, which is the Montana plan, which will essentially give the state power to circumvent Citizens United. And I think that having dark money in politics is really problematic. I appreciated that when I was running for office this last year, we as candidates all get surveys from different organizations, and one of them was from the Montana Association of Realtors, and they actually asked us if we'd be willing to accept PAC money. And so we could say, no, we would not accept PAC money, but we could also still work on getting an endorsement from them. I would like to see other organizations do that, especially the Montana Conservation Voters, which has become, in my opinion, a political organization and does not represent advocacy for the environment any longer. I'm deeply disappointed in how they have become a party player. Anyway, I just wanted to give a big shout out to the folks who come in every week or consistently to remind us what our job is, and to encourage everybody to vote yes on I-94 because it will change how we fund elections in our state.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Jordan. Councillor Ponton.
Thanks, Mayor Davis. Just briefly want to mention, because it came up in the comments, the two motions on the consent agenda for tonight related to the intention to vacate easements. We're just setting the public hearing. So those are set for August 10th. So there's a fair bit of time to kind of weigh in and provide comment if you want to. That's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Campbell. Thank you. And Councillor Nugent.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll pass tonight.
All right. Councillor Krask.
I have a couple thoughts, and I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but since I was directed or asked for a policy or position on dark money, I will say that I don't support dark money in politics. I am getting political flyers day in and day out trying to find where the funding is coming from for those political flyers, because they are coming from people, from entities that don't have names that really tell you anything about the organization and don't tell you about the candidate. And I think that in our elections and in politics, we need transparency, and we need to know where information is coming from, right? If you don't know where information is coming from, it's coming from a flyer, you don't know where that money is coming from for the flyer, you have no idea where that stands. And candidates are not asking for those to be sent. So they can be sent on behalf of a candidate without a candidate approving or saying, I want this sent on my behalf. So I think that that's a real issue too. I think that there's a difference between taking an endorsement from an organization versus taking money from an organization. I think that there's a difference from a small local organization who wants to support somebody running for office versus a large dark money PAC. I think in general, we have an issue with money in politics. I think that political spending could certainly be put to better use elsewhere. And I think that we have, as a nation, as a municipality, as a state, as a nation, we have a responsibility to take a look at what money is coming in, where it's going, and how it's being spent, because I think that there's a lot more that money could do locally than to just getting one person elected. So I'll leave it at that for tonight.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Councillor Krask. Savage.
I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Jones.
I'll pass.
All right. And Councillor McCoy.
Oh, dang. I really want to pass. I'm hungry. I do want to express my appreciation for y'all sticking around. That's also another challenge with public comment, is there's oftentimes comments and folks aren't here to often hear if we have a response, if we choose to say something. And I appreciate Councillor Ponton touching in on the vacating right-of-way process. I think it, helped clarify that a little bit, hopefully. I guess I would have thought my comments the other night on Citizens United would have made it pretty clear that I don't support dark money. I try to be as scrupulous as I can when I take money from organizations or the organizations that I take. And I think to keep it brief, I just echo Councillor Krask's really eloquent statements as far as, we have a problem with money in politics. And I commented on the root of where that stems from. And, it's just spreading out. And it's something that we are going to have to take on as Americans. We have to take this issue on and figure out how to change it. Because as we can see in our electoral processes and bodies, it is really hurting our system overall. And I guess since I'm speaking, I will just take a quick second. I am originally from Idaho. My family has been in northern Idaho, the McCoys, for many generations. My grandfather was a horse logger. My father worked with the Forest Service. I worked for the Forest Service. There's nothing more than I would like to see than our forests be more productive, but I'd like to be clear that our forests aren't being utilized well because of a lot of the reasons that our forests aren't being properly managed is because of the policies being used to manage them. The Forest Service struggles to come into the future for management. The practices that were taking place were just detrimental to the environment, which is in part of what shut it down. The biggest part of the destruction of our forest product industry is NAFTA, which is why we buy most of our timber from Canada. Those are the biggest pieces of the pie that have taken down the forest industry. There are many smaller pieces of the whole, but it's detrimental to the issue to draw on little slivers of the pie when you have large chunks of the pie that are what are really making it so we don't have viable forests, so that we have larger forest fires in the summertime that even though are natural, and I do remember these smoky skies back in the 2000s when I fought fire, that are contributing to it. So I just wanted to set that straight as probably one of the members of this body who has tipped over more trees than I can shake a stick at, and it comes from a logging family about why, we don't see the industry and the care for our forests that we should. It's mostly policies and the drive for greed and money. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McCoy. Councillor Anderson.
Thanks so much, Madam Mayor. Appreciate all the comments tonight and everyone coming down. I consider myself incredibly lucky because I get to call Denise Juneau a good friend of mine. And I remember once, and this has stuck with me ever since, I was talking about how proud I am to be a Montanan and how many generations I am. And I said the number out loud, and she turned to me and she goes, I'll take your 5 generations and I'll raise you my 50. And that has stuck with me ever since. And so I just wanted to share that with friends because I think it's an important thing to remember. So with that, thanks so much.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. How about folks online? Any council members? Councillor Melson, I see you there. Do you? All right.
Thanks so much.
Sure, you bet. Anybody else? Councillor Cheryl Becerra?
I'll pass, thanks.
I'll pass too, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. And this, I will add to the overwhelming feelings that I feel like most of these council members and all council members have here, which is that dark money is eroding our democracy. The Supreme Court ruling on direct campaign contributions and party coordination has just further eroded the, I would say, the election strength of our elections. So it's important to get out there and vote because this Supreme Court is making some very long-lasting and detrimental decisions to the sanctity of our free elections. And so we have some really important considerations here in our state, but it matters who you elect at the federal level because that's who's deciding who is on our Supreme Court. So we've got a big campaign election season coming upon us. And with that, I hope people get out there, volunteer for those campaigns that you believe in, and get out the vote. Thanks so much, folks. Go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 8:12 p.m. Thank you.